Okay guys, so this is the homework, and you guys need to first of all go to the back cover of your notebook into the homework log and write down the assignment. It's also written on the back board over there. The date, 8/28, WSP 1.2. That's worksheet practice 1.2. We're going to be doing numbers 1 through 27 odd. Okay, the odd ones only. Now, let's take a look at a couple of these, especially I forgot to mention on the previous video, on our notes, it says that if you ever have a fraction, kind of like number 15 right here, you have a fraction. If you have a fraction and there's stuff to do on top and stuff to do on the bottom, I would like you to do everything on top, do everything on the bottom, and then at the very end, worry about dividing, because a fraction bar is really a division bar. Okay? So once again, whenever you have a fraction like this, let's ignore the bottom, simplify the top, and then ignore the top and simplify the bottom. And at the very end, worry about the division that the fraction bar actually represents. And if you can't divide, then you could at least try to reduce. Anyhow, let's do number 15. Okay, so as you can see, I put this little rectangle on the bottom. I'm ignoring the bottom. So I'm just focusing in on the top part. And on the top part, I have two operations. There's addition and there's also exponents. So according to PEMDAS, what do I do first?
Exponent.
Yeah, you're going to do the E before the A, right? Exponents first, then addition. Okay, so let's go for exponents first. 3 squared is what? 9. So I really have, and like I said, do one step and rewrite everything. We have a 7 plus 9 up there, and it's still on top. And I'm still ignoring the bottom. So my final step on the top will be to do 7 plus 9, which is a final answer of 16. So up on top, I have 16. Now let's go and ignore the top and focus in on the bottom. So let's ignore this top part, all this work we just did. And on the bottom, I have multiplication, and I also have exponents. So according to PEMDAS, do I do exponents first, or do I multiply first?
Exponent.
Exponents. So let's go for 4 squared. And 4 squared is 16. And of course, I'm just going to rewrite the times 2. And 16 times 2 is 32. There we go. So there's our final answer there. So what we did, again, was we ignored the bottom, did the top, and then we ignored the top and did the bottom. Now, let's take a look at our answer here, 16 over 32, and let's see if we could actually divide, right? Well, you can't really divide 16 by 32, but you could reduce the fraction, right? You could reduce by 16, or you could keep reducing by 2 till you get to your final reduced answer. So you guys want to reduce by 2 or by 16 or by 4? What do you guys say? Or by 16, all right, quick. Divide by 16, divide by 16, you're going to get the answer 1 over 2, 1/2. Okay? Now, if for some reason the 32 would have been on top and the 16 would have been on the bottom, then it really would have been 32 divided by 16, which would be the nice answer 2. But right here, 16 over 32, it could only be reduced by 16, and you get the 1/2 as an answer. So I hope this helps in helping you remember that whenever you do have a fraction with things on top and things on the bottom, you have to work out the top, work out the bottom, and then at the very end, try to reduce or divide, okay? So once again, you have a fraction, do the top, do the bottom, and then at the very end, look at your answers and see if you could divide or reduce. Let's take a look at number 14 here. Again, we have a fraction, so let's pick one. You guys want to do the top first or the bottom? Top. Okay, so let's ignore the bottom. And on the top, or on the numerator part, do we have parentheses? Yes, we do. It's right here. So what we're going to do is zoom in and just do the 2 times 5. Whoops. So 2 times 5 is 10. So what we're going to do is rewrite the 2 times 5 as 10. And notice that I rewrote everything exactly the way it is. All I did was that single step of 2 times 5, there it is, 10. The squared is still right there. The plus 4 is still right there. Okay. So continuing with the top, Let me make some more space over here. Continuing with the top, what do we do next? Do we do exponents or addition? Exponents, of course. 10 squared is what? 100. So I really have 100 plus 4, and of course that's going to be 104. So that's what we have up on top as our final result. Whoops. So let's go back to the denominator now on number 14, and let's ignore what we did up here on the top. So on the denominator we have two operations. We have exponents and subtraction. So do we do exponents or subtraction? Which one do we do first? Exponents, obviously. So 3 squared is 9, and 9, bring down or rewrite the minus 5. 9 minus 5 is what? 4. So that's what we're going to write down as our final answer over there. Let me just move this out of the way. 9 minus 5 is 4. And now at the very end, once I've already simplified the top and the bottom, now I could actually worry about this fraction bar, which is really a division, right? So 104 divided by 4, that's 26. Yeah, 26. 26. And you need to be able to show your work. Okay, so on the quiz or on the test Friday, make sure you show all this work. It's not enough to just have the right answer, 26. And of course, always you could check your answers by flipping the paper over. The answers are provided to you. Okay, let's take a look at number 12. So let's look at the P. That means parentheses. Are there any parentheses? Because that's the first thing we need to do. There's actually brackets which are parentheses. So we first need to zoom in to the inside of those brackets. Okay? Now within the brackets themselves, there's another set of parentheses. So what does that mean? It means that you zoom in some more. So you're going to zoom in even further. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, so 7 take away 4 is 3. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that one single step, and I'm going to rewrite everything exactly the way it is. Let me zoom out a little so we can see everything. So there's my parenthesis 3, and let me rewrite the rest. So notice 7 take away 4 is 3. There it is. I brought down the square. I brought down the 6 that's in front. I brought down the brackets, the division, the 162. I did one step. I rewrote everything else. That's what I encourage you guys to do as well. So let's keep working inside the brackets. Now, if you're thinking, oh, there's still parentheses. Yeah, but there's nothing to do inside the parentheses. So inside the brackets, you do have multiplication and exponents. So do we multiply or do we do exponents? The E is before the M, so yeah, exponents first. So when we do this, 3 squared, that's 9. It's going to be a 9 right there. And let me rewrite everything the way it is. Let me just zoom out a bit. So as you can see, I rewrote everything. And now we're still inside the brackets. And 6 times 9 is 54. And again, I'm going to rewrite everything, the brackets, I'm going to rewrite the division, I'm going to rewrite the 162 right there. And so now the final step would be to divide. Even if you're like, oh, there's still brackets, inside there's nothing to do. So the only operation you have to deal with is a division. So 162 divided by 54 is equal to 3. And of course, you could check your answers by flipping the paper over. There is one more final thing, I guess, that I kind of missed on the notes. On the notes, it explains, I think on the notes I gave you Friday, it explains that evaluating a variable expression simply means to plug in the values and to work it out, right? So evaluate means to plug it in. So we have the word evaluate right here. Let's write down somewhere, plug it in. So you're probably thinking, plug what in? Well, they give you values for A, B, and C. A is 12, B is 9, C is 4. Okay? So all you have to do is plug in your A value, your B value, your C value, and work out the math using the correct order of operations. Okay? So which one would you guys like to see? 18. Sure, why not? So notice, if I were to ask you what is happening between the 2 and the C, what would you tell me? Multiplication. So that's really 2 times C. So instead of C, you're going to plug it in. That's what we wrote down, plug it in. So C is 4. You're going to plug in the 4 right there. What I recommend doing before plugging in maybe is to rewrite everything, but instead of your C value, put parentheses right there. Instead of your A value and B value, leave some blank spots right there. So we said C was 4. We said A is 12. A is 12 over here. And B is 9. No, yeah, B is 9. So working this out, again, PEMDAS, is there any parentheses? Yes, there is. Here it is. 12 plus 9. That is 21. So inside the parentheses, whoops, that's 21. And after that, we have, let me rewrite everything so we don't get confused here. We have 2 times 4, and then times 21, because there's multiplication between the 4 and the 21. There's no sign. So we have a bunch of multiplication. Let's just go from left to right. So we have 2 times 4, that's 8. 8 times 21. Let me do some distributed property in my head here. 8 times 20 is 160. 8 times 1 is 8. So 168 would be my answer. Somebody check it on the back, please. It is? Excellent. You know what I'm realizing here? I've been doing a bunch of even problem ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And our homework assignment is the odd ones.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But hey, more practice to you guys.
So then can I pick one?
Sure. Which one would you like to see?
Okay, 23.
23. Sure. Why not? Let's do 23. And again, I want to mention that it's very important to plug in. And normally when I see letters together like this, I like to plug in with parentheses. So let me first rewrite everything. Instead of 2c to the third, I want to put 2 parentheses to the third. Instead of minus AB, I want to put minus parenthesis. And then it's over 4, so put over 4 down there. Are you with me?
Yep.
So start out with parentheses and then plug in the values that they actually give you. So what was A? A was 12. What was B? 9. What was C? 4. Okay, so here's our math expression. And just like I mentioned before, if you have a fraction, do the top, do the bottom. At the very end, worry about dividing. So up on the top, I mean, there's nothing to do on the bottom. There's just the divided by 4. So up on the top, do we have parentheses? Yeah, we have parentheses, but there's nothing to do inside. There's a 4, there's a 12, there's a 9. So you move on to the next one, E, which is exponents. And we do have an exponent. We have a 4 to the third. 4 to the third. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. Okay? So let me rewrite everything, but with the 64 instead of a 4 to the third. There's my 64. Now let me rewrite the rest. So now on the top, I got rid of my exponents. Now I have multiplication, subtraction, and multiplication. So what do I do first? Multiplication. So let's go 2 times 64. What's that?
128.
Right? If you do distributed property in your head, you could say 2 times 60 is 120. 2 times 4 is 8, so it must be 128. Let's write that down, 128. And how about this other multiplication, 12 times 9?
100.
That's 108, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have this minus sign that we need to bring down. So I did both multiplications, and the minus sign just comes down. I might as well bring down the divided by 4 also, rewrite everything. So we're still focusing in on the top, and at the very end, we'll worry about dividing by 4. So the last step up on the top, 128 128 minus 108, what do we have?
80.
20.
Oh,
20.
20.
Yeah. So we have 20 left, and it is divided by 4. Final answer, 5. Double check by flipping it over. So, this is an assignment. Let's work on it. And if you have any questions, you feel free to post on Edmodo. I could respond on Edmodo. I hope this video helps. Okay, guys, it was brought to my attention that number 20, the answer is not 8. Okay, so in the back, on the back side of your page,